Alright guys, it is the start of day 3 on the 30-day Thrash to finish the 55 4-door project. And I got my little gal pal here, Kiki. So this is pretty much how I start every morning when I get up. Usually eat my breakfast right here at the table, and I watch all the guys' videos, the latest videos I'll say. This is Montana Garage. That's his latest one. Of course, I'll have to back it up and turn the volume back up after I turn the camera off. But man, I'm still half asleep, trying to get caffeinated. But anyway, got to get the day started. I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to go to my dad's, actually help him swap some wheels out on a car, and then I'm going to come back and get started on paint stuff. So I'll be doing a lot of video clips and then putting them all together for you guys for a video tonight. But anyway, this is my one of the spare bedrooms in my house that I call it the computer room, but it's really kind of the 55 room. There's parts from the hardtop and the 4-door in here, especially back there. Anyway, I have this is my main computer that I watch videos on. I play Call of Duty on and stuff, and then the other one over here is my old one. This one's, I don't know, 5-6 years old probably, but anyway, that's the one I do my YouTube videos on. I had that in the closet and I decided to get it out and use it for YouTube because I have quite a few games on this computer. But anyway, it worked out nice because when I started messing with this old computer, it actually had some factory installed editing software on it, and that's what I've been using. It's not awesome stuff, but it works. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here and get my day started. I need to back this up and turn the volume back up. I'm going to finish watching this video and then get the day started. Anyway, here we go. Alright guys, so setting up everything for paint. So I actually propped the concrete blocks sideways a little bit with a little piece of square tubing, and then I paint stick that, but now they're, if you try to set those things down flat, they set at an angle and they almost try to want to fall over. So that's pretty redneck set up there, because I'll have to end up turning them upside down and do the other side. But anyway, I got the lower control arms and upper control arms hanging up. Pretty good eye level area to get to with a paint gun. I got the rear end sitting on sawhorses, and I'm actually trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get paint up in this. It's going to be a little tough. I went ahead and pulled the pinion off the rear end here so I can get paint up in there. I've got to go in and put masking tape around this on the old seal here, because I got a new pinion seal to put on anyway. But anyway, all this stuff will be gloss black. So I took a piece of all thread and a little bracket here, and I bolted those down tight. These are the spindle knuckles. The nuts are actually, this is 5/16 by 18 all thread, so the nuts on there, they're not going to get paint behind the nuts, but the nuts and bolts that go in there are bigger than that, so it'll cover. But anyway, this little rig will be set up like this. After I paint this by hand, I'll bring it in here and hang it there, so it'll hang up to dry. And then the spindles themselves, I'll have a rubber glove on and a piece of a long sleeve shirt, a cut off sleeve from a long sleeve shirt to protect my arm. But anyway, I'll paint these by hand, that way I can turn them and everything. And then I've got I've got a deal set up here to hold that for that one to dry. And then I got a piece of wire hanging up over there as well to hang this other one from. So it's redneck, but it works. Anyway, I got to finish up a little bit more cleanup. I need to go over everything with a red Scotch-Brite and then wipe it all down with wax and grease remover and a microfiber. My day, I wanted to get this done before my wife came home from lunch, or for lunch, because I don't want to overspray her car. And by the time she leaves, it's 1:15 in the afternoon, so it's going to be pretty hot then. So I've really got to get busy here. I still got to get the paint gun out, and I got to unhook this old hose, hook up the paint hose. Oh, what a mess. I got to get to it. All right, guys. This is why I like that POR 15 for stuff like this. course, this is in the shade, so you can't really see. That PR15, it lays down really, really slick, and it's super glossy. Just a little bit of orange peel I can live with. The rear end was the worst. I mean, for, you know, pretty scaly rust on the rear end cover and the axle tubes. I went over it with some 80 grit sandpaper and then some 120 grit, and then I just pretty much wiped everything down and started shooting it. But it's good enough. You know, it's a daily driver. I don't care if the rear end cover's pitted, but it's really pitted down here. So I'll be changing these bolts out with stainless Allen hit socket caps that I have here. I'm not going to polish them or nothing. I'm just putting them in there for a little bit of detail. I got this all pretty much painted. I did leave out the vent tube because it's plastic. It's like a white cream colored plastic. That way I can snap it back in there, and that's detail that it didn't get painted. I also loosened off the oil fill plug, and I have a chrome one in there I'm going to replace it with. I guess I got her a little heavy there. She's dripping. I laid that stuff on there. I'm using a gun that has a 2.3 needle. It's a pretty large needle gun, but that Pour 15 is pretty thick stuff. Anyway, I didn't care if it got any runs in it. Doesn't make me no difference. But man, they look good. I mean, they look really, really nice. I'm really happy with that. Coil springs turned out nice. So I pretty much sanded everything, used some 180, 220, just whatever scrap sandpaper I had in my box. And then I used some red Scotch-Brite and pretty much run over everything to get all the rough stuff off. And then this is on the second can. This is almost empty now, but I had two of these. This is Sims self-etching primer. This is black. But anyway, I shot all that stuff. I don't put a super thick coat of that stuff on. I just put like a medium coat on and call it a day. And then I waited, I don't know, 10 minutes probably, and then I just went to shooting. So, man, they look awesome. I mean, that is slick, man, for a daily driver, especially. Anyway, I still got to paint the spindles and the knuckles, but now I don't really want to shoot anything else out here because I'd get overspray on all this after it's flowed out. So I may shoot those parts tomorrow. I kind of thought about seeing if my hose will reach and go out there in my fenced area right there on the edge, and I'll just hand spray them parts and carry them out. So if my hose is long enough, I'll do that. I use a different hose for when I paint. I mentioned this in my playlist. I have a video on tech tips, but one of it is garage painting. If you're going to paint something and you're at your home garage, it's a good idea to have a spare hose only for painting, because every time your compressor is running, it's creating moisture. You know, and I don't have all the water traps and all the bleed out stations and all that stuff, so I've kind of ran the hose through a couple of traps and then up and over here. Your water trap is supposed to be like 50 feet or 25 feet or something from your compressor. And I used to have an extra one that would snap on here. When I hooked the hose up, it would plug on, but it ended up leaking real bad. It was just a Cobalt from Lowe's, so I threw it in the trash. So now I use a desiccant snake. You can get these from Summit for under 20 bucks. It's full of that desiccant stuff. And then I put a little filter on here. This will catch the brunt of it. These are cheap to throw away. But then, you know, this will last a little while. But anyway, when I am done with painting, like even if I go to clean the paint gun with solvent, I will unhook my painting hose and hook up the old, you know, regular hose, because it's been used for a couple of years and it's full of moisture. So anyway, just another tech tip for you there. That, you know, cheap insurance, you know, having a hose and stuff. So that's all you get for now. All right, guys, talk about redneck fixtures. That's my old thread with the bracket. This is a cut-off sleeve from an old long sleeve that I threw away. I cut the sleeves off to do this. Put a glove on. That way you don't get paint all over your arm and your hands. But anyway, so I got the knuckles painted. I'll bring them in here and hang them up. That way I can get a dent in my forehead when I walk through there and forget about them. Actually laid some old leaf springs out here in the open eyelet. I stuck the spindle ends down in so they can dry that way. Anyway, back to work. Well, that's great. I cleaned the paint gun, put it up, and then I walked back out here and painted a couple more little items with some spray paint, and then it hit me that I forgot the pieces that bolt on here that your rubber bump stops go in, and the plates that go underneath the leaf springs that your U-bolts go through. Son of a gun. So I think I'll just spray paint them because I don't want to waste the material in cleaning the paint gun again and the paper towels and stuff, so heck with it. So I painted the washer and the nut with that gold duplicolor. I mean, just gives it a little bit better look, you know. It's a little bit of detail there. And I did this cast iron gray. That's also duplicolor engine enamel. But anyway, when that goes back on there, it's all, you know, has a little bit of detail to it. So, and if you've been watching the channel long enough, you kind of done figured out I'm a little bit of a detail guy. You know, not that I'm the best at it. I like to have a little bit of detail in there. So I did clean up the vent tube as good as I could with some brake clean and a microfiber, and then I put it back in. So after everything dries, looks like tomorrow I'll be able to put a new pinion seal on and put all that back on, and then put my rear end cover. Well, I can't do the cover. I got to do the axle seals and get the axles and stuff back in there. But anyway, basically reseal all the rear. So I'm happy, man. It's looking awesome. Nothing's perfect, but it is absolutely way better than a lot of the drivers I've done before. So, you want to get in the shade? Oh, okay. Just didn't want your black car out in the sun. I'd have been in trouble when you come back out from lunch.
Thanks. Are you videoing?
Yes.
Okay.
You ready for lunch?
Yeah, what'd you make me? Bacon?
Nothing. All right, guys. I'm going to go in and eat lunch with my beautiful wife. All right, so I've got these brand new ball joints that I bought in these tubular control arms. They came with them. And I used them for mock-up, so they had some overspray and grease and just pretty gnarly, but they've never been driven. They've just been like for mock-up, rolling it around here. So, you know, anytime you put on new ball joints, it is a good idea to go ahead and paint them because they pretty much just surface rust. So what I've done is I've cleaned this one up pretty good, and I used a wire wheel on the bench grinder on the outer part of the metal. And then I used some brake cleaner on a microfiber and got in here and cleaned all the grease off that gold anodized center section. I'm going to try to find something that will fit over that fits down in there pretty good to protect the gold anodized. If not, I'm going to just mask it off with some masking tape. I want to leave that gold anodized just for detail, but anyway, I will paint this outer with just some spray paint to keep it from rusting, and then I'm going to clean up the rubber boots that go on there because they're pretty nasty. They even got a little bit of yellow primer overspray on them as well. So I'll try to clean them off and get them cleaned up a little bit before I put them back on. But anyway, when I get done with them, they should look like completely brand new components, we'll hope anyway. All right, so I used I think it was a 19mm socket that I wrapped some masking tape around and used it for a paint mask, just stuck it up there. Repainted this outer. This is a Krylon spray paint. It's called Satin Oil Rubbed Bronze. It gives it kind of an oxide look, like a black oxide look, I think. I don't know. It looks better than just using like I don't know, just a black. But anyway, it kind of gives it a metallic-y, grayish, dark color. I think it looks kind of cool for a ball joint. So I did my U-bolts and U-bolt nuts with the same paint. As I stated before, I usually don't like using spray paint on stuff, but in this case it's a daily driver, and you know, it's just cheaper and faster, so that's what I'm going to do. I cleaned up the rubber boots a little bit with the rag and some brake clean, so now I've got to clean up the other upper ball joint, and these will be done. I do have brand new lowers in the box, so I don't have to worry about painting those. These actually look like they're black already. They're good enough anyway. These will probably actually rust. They'll probably just bare, but it'll be all right. There's the U-bolts and the nuts I painted. Those things were pretty pitted. I actually soaked them in Evapor Rust and it got all the rust off of them, and then I washed them real good with some wax and grease remover and a microfiber to clean them up. They'll be good enough. All right, guys, that is the end of day 3. So it's about 4:30 p.m. I'm getting ready to go mow my yard. I need to get that done so I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. Grass is already pretty tall. So I got all kinds of little stuff painted. So this thing, I should be able to assemble a lot of the suspension tomorrow, although I do have to go to the hardware store tomorrow and buy a few bolts, some grade 8 stuff that I don't have. So I'm going to leave the rear end out here overnight and the upper control arms. Everything's pretty much dry to the touch, but I don't want to risk it really. These, you know, I didn't much care, but the finish, man, I'm telling you, that paint laid down so slick on those. So happy with them. But anyway, I am sore, I am tired, and I'm hungry. But anyway, that's it. Day 3 is over. Another day tomorrow. So thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.